What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and out of nowhere, well, what I will call out of nowhere, Pete Hines, who is basically the PR guy for Bethesda, has just kind of shocked everyone and told everyone that the upcoming August DLC for Fallout 4 is going to be the end of the Fallout 4 Season Pass DLC, which is kind of strange. So there's a couple of reasons for that. Is one, when you look back at, say, Fallout 3, or you could even go with Fallout New Vegas. I know it's made by Obsidian, but it was contracted by Bethesda or ZeniMax, whatever you want to look at it. And they all had four big DLCs each, and they were four significant DLCs, like four actual big story-based DLCs. Whereas we look at Fallout 4, now Fallout 4 is going to technically have six DLCs, but we'll get to all that now in a second anyway. So the main reason for that is when you look at the Fallout 4 DLCs, okay? Like I said, there is six of them. There was three of them announced first, and then Bethesda announced three more at E3. And then just recently, Pete Hines confirmed that the August upcoming one, which will be the third DLC in the second set, so it'll be the sixth DLC, will be the final one. And we'll get to that now. So anyway, the season pass originally was going to cover just the first three because that was all that was announced at the time, and it was sold for €30 or $30, or I think it was £25 maybe. I'm not sure on the UK price, but eventually Bethesda came out and said, okay, hang on guys, we're going to make so much more content and we're going to do so much with this and the quality of our content and all that we're going to have to increase the price of this. So they increased the price of the season pass from €30 to €50. Luckily, I got paid like 2 days before it went up in price, so I managed to snag it for €30. And yeah, that gives me access to all six DLCs. So the very first DLC, Automatron, I always went back and forth if this was actually called Automatron or Automatron. Now, I realize that might sound a bit silly, but before it had come out, I was thinking, it's like, hang on, female robot, matron, mother of robots, we'll see. So it could still go either way, but I'll just call it Automatron for the purpose of this video, which basically had an extra small little DLC story, a little small extra couple of quests in there. But the main thing it did, it added a new armor set, some new weapons and some new mods. But the main thing was that it allowed you to build and customize your own robot, and you could use them as a companion. So that was the big draw to that one. The second one anyway that released was Wasteland Workshop. Now Wasteland Workshop was just basically a crap load of new stuff to build, and that's basically it. That one was useless to me, for the simple reason, well, actually, that's not the entire thing, but yeah, that one was pretty much useless to me. I hate the base building system in Fallout 4. Can't stand it, but that's just me. So there is one or two other things as well in the Wasteland Workshop one, is that you can basically capture almost anything from the wild and use it to like capture it in cages, raise it up, and make it fight other stuff in kind of like a deathmatch pit kind of thing, whatever way you want to look at it for anyway. So they were the first two anyway, and the third one was the one I was actually really looking forward to. So this one was called Far Harbor. Now, if you've been on my channel in the last couple of videos or last couple of weeks, whatever it is, you'll actually see I've been playing Far Harbor. I wanted to wait because of when it was out, and the GTX 1080 when it was just about finished. I wanted to wait for the 1080 to be able to play this. So you'll see some Far Harbor footage on some of my older videos. Well, some of my newer videos, whatever way you want to look at it. The big difference that set Far Harbor apart from the previous two DLCs in this is Far Harbor is an actual big, meaty, chunky, proper sized DLC. It's almost like an expansion, especially because when you go to the area, it has its own whole set of landmass, its own stories, quests, side quests, new enemies, new armors, new weapons, there's new systems, tons of new stuff in it as well. So it's basically like a proper expansion. So it is a pretty hefty DLC. I definitely recommend Far Harbor, at least anyway. Even if you're not going to get the season pass, I definitely recommend Far Harbor. But to be honest, depending on the price of the stuff we'll get to in a minute, we'll talk about that actually in a second. So that's that one anyway. That's the first three of the season pass covered. Now at E3, like I said, they did announce a couple more. They did announce three more DLCs that are going to be coming out, and then that's going to be it. as far as the Fallout 4 Season Pass goes. So the next DLC package is going to be the Contraptions Workshop, which is already actually released because that came out in June. Now, the thing about that one is a lot of people have been using the Fallout 4 building system and the settlement building system. They've been doing kind of crazy stuff with it, making all these weird contraptions and all this kind of thing, just out of like moving platforms and, opening stuff and hydraulics and whatever, that kind of stuff. So because of all that, the contraption one makes it easier. They have all sorts of traps and weird devices and doohickeys and all that, so they can easily create that kind of stuff. You can make all sorts of crazy shit. I know I've seen some good ones where people put Preston Garvey in what are they called? Not a gallows, but I think it's a stock and chains. You know those things where they're like hunched over and they have their hands in their head in the wooden thing to keep them in place, and they have like machines that just throw teddy bears perpetually at them, or they have machines that just throw baseballs perpetually at them, that kind of stuff. It's pretty funny because we all know that Preston Garvey needs to chill the fuck out. So, but again, that one really has no interest to me personally because I don't do much building in it as well. Now, I realize I'm going to sound like a hypocrite when I mention the next one. The next one that's coming out, the 5th DLC, is going to be the Vault-Tec Workshop. So this one is basically like the 1st, 2nd, and 4th DLC. It's a settlement building based DLC. But now here's where it gets really interesting, and this is the bit that really catches my attention. You can actually use it to create a settlement that is a vault. You can have your own vault and use that as your main settlement. Personally, I'm actually going to do that. I cannot wait for that one. So I am looking forward to that one. It's going to be out at some point this month in July. So despite not liking the building so much, I'm actually going to use that one to try get into a proper setup and a proper building situation and just have a kind of beast one myself. So that's that one anyway. So that's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th DLCs covered. The 6th DLC, which is the 3rd one in the 2nd wave, still covered by the Season Pass, mind you, is Nuka World. Now, Nuka World is going to, what's seen, we don't have too much info on it, at least at the moment, but Nuka World seems to going to be an amusement park style, we'll call it big story expansion, hopefully. Yeah, there's not much info out there, but that's what it looks like anyway. It looks like it's going to be another Far Harbor style thing. So it looks like it's going to be a meaty, chunky thing with a proper story, proper side quest, proper mechanics, rep system, well, not rep system, but what would you call it, different branching stories that you can choose to pass on, whatever. One thing they have hinted at as far as Nuka World goes, obviously it's set in what would be a Coca-Cola world. It's an amusement park. It's an amusement park based on Nuka-Cola, so it's going to have loads of that stuff. But one thing they did have, and they did mention for that one, is it gives you the ability to go back to Fallout 4 and become a raider. So how's that going to go? It's most likely going to have loads of new stuff as well, in the way of, say, new weapons, new armor, new mods, new whatever. It's all going to be that kind of stuff as well. So that's what I reckon, at least anyway, because it seems to be a proper full-size DLC. So that's all 6 DLCs covered that it's going to be with the Season Pass. Like I said, the Season Pass was upped from 30 to 50 euro because of all the additional content they were going to put in. Now, here's where it gets a bit dicey. One, as I mentioned at the start, a lot of people were expecting a lot more. They were expecting 3, maybe 4 significant sized DLCs because it's kind of, Bethesda's, they have a track record with that kind of stuff. You look at Skyrim as well, that had some significant, I think that had one massive one, I think it was one small one, one useless one, and one massive one. So you could look at that like a 1.5, maybe 2, whatever you want to look at it. You get the idea anyway. So, and the fact there was the price increase, and what really does it for a lot of people, not too much myself in practice, but the principle, is that the 1st Automatron, 2nd, which is the Wasteland Workshop, 4th, the Contraptions Workshop, and 5th, Vault-Tec Workshop, all those 4 DLCs are very small, relatively small, and they're all easily moddable. In fact, there's a lot of criticism about the very first 2 because they're basically just existing mods. Now, obviously, Bethesda has their own spin on them and they've done them themselves, but they're basically just existing mods for Fallout 4 as it is. So they're probably a bit more polished, yes, and all that, but that's a whole other story. But that's a big issue for a lot of people. Some, like I said, a bit myself included, not so much in practice, but more so in actual principle. And it's going to be the same with Contraptions Workshop, the 4th DLC, and Vault-Tec Workshop, the 5th DLC. They're both essentially almost existing mods, if not existing mods. So because of that, you're really only getting 2 large DLCs for €50. Now, if I remember right, I haven't checked this myself because I do have the season pass, so I can't really check. Well, I can check, but I never thought of it before this. As far as I know, the Far Harbor DLC is €25. And as far as I know, the Nuka World, we're assuming is going to be the same size as Far Harbor. So we're going to assume it's €25 as well. In which case, that's €50. So if you're going to buy those two, which I definitely recommend Far Harbor, and assuming it's the same, assuming Nuka-Cola or Nuka World is going to be the same as Far Harbor style, I'd probably recommend that one as well. So at that point, just buy the season pass. You're going to get the extra stuff anyway, just included with it. But it's just, they made it out to be so much more and so much bigger. The DLC plans and all, and what they had in store for Fallout 4. And because of all that, with Pete Hines just coming out of nowhere and just saying, yep, it's going to be our last one. And he only said it in a tweet, just a random tweet in a reply to a person. It wasn't even a full-on announcement at the time. It was just some guy asked, like, oh, is there any more DLC after Nuka-Cola, or what's happening? And he goes, nope, last one. And that's it. Now, I think there was some sort of announcement after that when everyone started freaking out and it was going around the internet and all. So that's a whole other thing. So, I don't know. What was the Fallout 4 season pass? Is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be worth it for €30? Is it going to be worth it for €50? That still remains to be seen. Or it's an individual thing, really, for a couple of reasons. One, if you got it for €30, if you got it for €50, what value you place on the actual DLCs themselves. Are you going to be playing the two big DLCs like myself, maybe one of the small little other ones? But depending on the fact that I got it for €30, and Far Harbor was a fairly significant chunk of DLC added as well, if Nuka World is anything similar to that, it'll be worth it for me. Simply because I will have got my money's worth out of it. €30 for 2 big things like that. I'm cool with that. I'm fine with that. However, €50 for the 2 of those, I can see why some people would be a little bit more hesitant to, part with the money and think they're getting their bang for their buck. Now, of course, there are people out there, not myself, but I'm definitely not unaware to the people out there that say some people might use all 6 DLCs. Some of them they might love all the building stuff. They might love all the contraption stuff, the workshop stuff, the vault stuff, as well as the 2 story DLCs. So obviously, if they get it for €30, it's a fucking bargain for people like that. If they get it for €50, chances are, it's probably not a bargain, but chances are that it's going to be worth their money for the 6 DLCs that they'll actually use. So obviously, it's all relative. Sorry, it's like nearly 2 a.m. here. I'm getting very tired. So that's my opinion on it anyway. Is it worth? I'm going to say maybe. Like we covered there a second ago, it's all relative and it's all down to your own personal perception of what you get out of Fallout 4 and what you get from the season pass, as well as how much you pay for it, simply because there's a price increase as well. But I am just shocked and a little bit surprised that there's going to be no more Fallout 4 DLC. I realize, yes, I know I should have said this earlier in the start of the video. I know Fallout 4, I played on PC. There's mods for days. I realize that. But I'm just saying, with Bethesda and what they were building up to be and what they seem to make it out to be and all as well, and then suddenly to just go, nope, done. Sorry, see you later. It's very confusing, and it's a little bit shocking, a little bit strange, a little bit disappointing at the same time. Either way, let me know in the comments section below any of your thoughts on any of the DLCs, if it's going to be worth it, if you hate the building, if you love the building, if you hated the story, the Far Harbor story, if you've done all that, if you're waiting for it, if you're seeing how it goes, trying to pick it up cheap, whatever. Let me know all that in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter, details in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.